Midlife eating disorders are on the rise. They were once thought to strike mainly teenage girls, but in the past decade, treatment centers have seen a 40 to 50% jump in the number of people over the age of 35 who were seeking help.
Dr. Cynthia Bulick is director of the University of North Carolina Center of Excellence for Eating Disorders. Her new book is called Midlife Eating Disorders, Your Journey to Recovery. Good morning.
Good morning.
You talk about a misperception among healthcare providers that this only affects younger women. Right. Is that perception changing?
It has to, and that's part of what we're doing here today. You know, this misperception has really done a disservice to so many people because men, older people, people who are African American or Latino would go to their providers and it wouldn't be on their radar screen.
Right.
So we really need to clarify that eating disorders don't discriminate.
And what kind of disorders specifically are we talking about? Because we've all heard of bulimia, anorexia. What are you talking about?
That's right. Those are the ones that I think is in everyone's mind. But there's a new kid on the block. So a new disorder called binge eating disorder. It's not new. It's been around for a long time, but it's about to become a bona fide disorder in the catalog of disorders that the American Psychiatric Association puts out called the DSM-5. And what that is it's binge eating, the same as bulimia. And what a binge is, it's sort of eating an unusually large amount of food and feeling out of control.
Right.
But unlike bulimia, there's no purging. There's no vomiting or excessive exercise or laxative use.
So it causes a gain of weight, theoretically.
Well, it can.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important point. So, you know, eating disorders sort of come in small, medium, and large. You cannot tell by looking at someone's size or their shape whether they have an eating disorder. But binge eating disorder does afflict people of all body sizes, and often it does lead to weight gain.
And what triggers it over the age of 35?
And that's really interesting. You know, we know that all of these eating disorders have a genetic component. But what we're seeing is that there are some sort of new midlife triggers. And some of them are internal. One of the big internal ones is actually menopause.
Oh, no.
And, well, oh no, indeed.
Oh, no.
And, you know, we know that puberty is a trigger, and menopause and puberty are sort of like bookends. And they're both periods of sort of hormonal upheaval. Menopause affects your appetite, it affects your mood, it affects your body shape, it affects your sleep, and all of those things can lead to unhealthy behaviors that sort of pave that slippery slope down to an eating disorder.
Are these people who had eating disorders in the past and that are effectively coming back after being suppressed for years, or are these absolutely new cases?
You know, we're seeing three different patterns. One of them is people who might have had an eating disorder when they were an adolescent, and then they sort of recovered or partially recovered, and it smoldered for a while maybe, but then there was one of these midlife triggers and it reared its head again later in life. And some people, sorry about that,
no,
you know, some people, they've been chronic, so they've really had an eating disorder all along. Right. And the third group is smaller but intriguing, and they're really developing eating disorders over the age of 35.
But the main thing I want to know is what to do.
Right.
What to do.
Most important thing, get an evaluation. And
but if doctors aren't aware of it, how do we?
That's right. You bring that information in with them. You take the book and say, look, this is me. I need help. How can I find help? Because we know that eating disorders in midlife can really cause a lot of physical problems. Eating disorders always cause problems physically. But when you're already aging and your body's less resilient, you're at even greater risk. So go in armed with the information, get an evaluation, and get help.
All right, Dr. Cynthia Bulick, may I mention the book?
Please do.
It's called Midlife Eating Disorders. It goes on sale today.